What's up, guitar broskies and broskies?
Broskies!
Welcome to the
What's
Synthwave
up?
Guitar Palace.
Yes.
Getting good at the opener.
Yeah. That's a solid opening.
It's getting there.
Super solid.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Getting there.
I agree.
I
I just realized I don't even have a drink.
Oh, you should get a drink.
I should get a drink.
Why don't you get
I'm
a
not
drink and
gonna
I'll tell the
I'm just
people.
gonna. I'm just gonna.
You sure?
Are you gonna? Yeah. You want me to get a drink?
Get a drink and I'll tell the people what they can expect.
I'm gonna get a drink.
You
I'm
go
gonna get a
drink.
pot. I'm gonna get some pot still. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, do it.
I'll be right back.
You should do it.
Burb.
All right. So this week we've got something I thought would be funny because I've worked on a couple things this week that are kind of like my own tech things, like guitar tech things and the like, as you do, and some funny stories came out of it. So this week is going to be us kind of like laughing about the shit we do to avoid paying a guitar tech because we have the skills, but somehow we still fuck it all up. So yeah,
I came in right.
Fuck them all up. Yeah.
The perfect point.
Yeah.
We have all the skills, but we fuck it all up.
Somehow it still fucking goes off the rails. Sometimes because of my own hastiness, sometimes because of just life does that. Sponsor us, will it? What am I drinking? I'm drinking.
Will it please?
I'm drinking Chattanooga 111 cast strength.
Wow.
Chattanooga does some cool Tennessee whiskey.
Chattanoogas.
I've had this bottle for a bunch of years, and I figured it was time to kill it. I think they've got distribution here in Indiana now, which they didn't have for a long time. So Chattanooga, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you for existing.
Will it pot still? Yes.
Really, thank you for existing. Will it?
Hey, seriously, thank you so much.
I actually knocked out.
I need you now tonight.
Me and the boys finished. I'm gonna dig this out of the trash can. Me and the boys.
Oh, that's hot.
Last jam. Oh, this is gross. Why am I doing this? It's covered with shit. Sponsor us. We finished off the 175 of the Willet. This thing's fucking giant.
That's a big pot still.
That is a gigantic.
You need to make a hookah out of that. Don't throw that away.
You want it? I'll keep it for you.
Make a hookah out of it.
That would actually be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
Make a super dangerous, ultra unstable hookah out of it.
It's actually be pretty stable. That thing's heavy as fuck.
I mean,
Turkish one without a purge valve.
Pretty good.
The old school Turkish style that doesn't have a purge. That'd do that real easy.
Dude, we could probably cut into that and put a purge valve in it.
Right.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about
It'll
that.
be something else we can fuck up.
I'm up for the challenge. We'll have a glass, a 1.5 foot tall glass bottle explode in our face.
God damn, dude. Oh, that's
It'll be so hot.
Yeah, it would be hot.
It'll be so hot. Yeah.
Okay, so my thing one of Dustin the Guitar Tech debacle is from this past Sunday. I have a buddy who had a crate 4x12 sitting in his garage for a while. And it's kind of one of those things of like, for just random band practice, when you're too fucking lazy to bring your own shit, he had that there, and the other guitarists usually used it. It had these speakers I had never heard of. So much so that I can't remember the brand. There are 25-watt speakers in it. Yeah, I can't even remember the brand. 25-watt speakers.
The Blue Voodoo cabs usually came with Celestia Advantage 30s in it.
Yeah, these weren't that. So this was called a Slim. It was called a Crate GX some numbers Slim, and it was mega light. Like this was lighter than some of those neodymium cabs I've lifted. Like, fuck, I've got the shit speakers in my trash can along with that Willet bottle.
Oh god.
I want you to see. And it's covered in hookah dust. So dude, this podcast is going great already.
This is great. This is what the people want.
I'm gonna get it to focus, and that is someone wrote shit on the back, so I would know when I was fixing it. This speaker was shit.
Oh my god. That's funny.
I don't know if you can see how small that magnet is.
It's tiny. It's a really small magnet.
This speaker. I've thrown frisbees that weigh more than this fucking guitar speaker.
Wow.
Yeah. So. I never remember it sounding particularly bad, but at the same time, you know, like what we are practicing in was like his detached garage. Bouncing metal doors, concrete poured floors. The soundproofing was a couple of fucking camping sleeping bags nailed to a wall behind the drum kit just to try to make the cymbals chill out a little. Your classic bro jam space, honestly. It's like playing in a basement.
Either that or one of those like snuff murder porn sets,
It was a dual functioning space.
Did it have a dirty mattress over in the corner with like a light bulb hanging from a socket, just like with like a chain that's like this long on it? You pull the thing and it kind of flickers off and on for a while.
We always just called that the hangout couch.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's the ticket.
I wondered why you always asked me to be naked on it, though.
Like, what are all these like random mustard stains all over the place on this thing?
No black lights
That just adds character. Yeah, don't turn the black light on.
Oh God, you're gonna go blind! Ah! It's like opening up the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. Fuck. Well, we're a solid. Where's my timer at? 6 minutes in, and we've gone to black lighting and a Justine mattress. So
it's all right.
I think we're doing well.
Yeah, that's how it goes. We're doing well. I agree.
Please like, subscribe, and dislike our content. So the algorithm, whatever the fuck I'm supposed to say. Fuck all, I don't care. What I do care about is So I had in my basement randomly a whole bunch of not matching 8-ohm speakers. And I was like, I had 3, and one of those shitty speakers didn't say shit on it. Like, it literally didn't have the word shit on it. They thought it was good.
Wow.
So I had a couple of orange Voice of the World speakers I had pulled out of a PPC 212, the Jim Root version, because I didn't love the way they sounded. And I found a random old Celestion, but like one of like the lower crappy Celestions. Like I know for a while they probably, I think it was like the Rocket, if you remember the Celestion Rocket. It's like a 65 watt 8-ohm classic cheap Celestion type of thing.
It's probably just a rebadged vintage 30. They probably all came out of the same factory.
They're all actually vintage 30s.
One sticker said vintage 30, the other one said Rocket.
Another sticker says greenback. The other sticker says greenback.
Exactly. Now okay. It's the stickers that are the main variation there. You know, it's the colors that's what seals in that tone.
Exactly. So I pull all the speakers out of the cab, and I put them back in. Fine, wire them up. Well, as I'm wiring up, I don't know how this cab was originally wired, but I think so. They had ohm checked all the speakers to find out which ones were good or bad, and that's why they said shit or nothing on them. But I think in doing that, they had lost a couple of the speaker connector cables, right? Like the little, how they have the little slidey tabs that go over,
clips.
Right?
Yeah.
So I know in my head I can just, wire it with like guitar wire and like solder it, or just crimp it or whatever. But I was like, okay, my buddy his other band was practicing that Sunday. I was like, it'd be cool. Apparently the other guitarist in that band, because my buddy's a bassist. This is why he has a shitty cab that doesn't work. He's been a bassist for like fucking 15 years. And bass only. He just happens to have a guitar cab from back in his fucking hardcore days and like hardcore punk days. And it's just become like, hey, I've got this here so you don't have to carry your heavy shit. Cool. 412, whatever. Pop your head on, go. It blew. So basically, a lot of these speakers are fucking blown to shit. Is the short of it. So I'm loading it just so they can get some use. And I was like, it'd be cool if I loaded it and gave it back to him in time for band practice, because his other fucking guitarist has the Sound City cab, which should be cool, right? You think Sound City, it's like 70s or whatever. Apparently all the speakers in that sound like shit. He's like, dude, every time this guy plays guitar, it sounds like shit because of his cab, not his talent or anything. Just like he would bring his own head, and he left his cab there, but his cab sounded like shit too. I don't know why all these guys have shitty sounding cabs. I don't know.
It's kind of important. It's kind of terrible to put a good sounding head on a shitty sounding cab. A good sounding head through a shitty sounding cab will make the good sounding head sound like shit.
Shit,
So
right, yeah. So it's
you know.
you know.
So fuck. You know.
So basically, I don't have to be in a time crunch, but I kind of like to get it back to him, and he didn't ask for it back with like a fucking day turnaround. We jammed at my house on Friday, is how it landed at my house. He brought it with him. I was like, dude, I'll fix it up and drop it. But I was like, dude, it'd be cool for him if I could drop it off, and it'd probably help him out during his other band practice. So I go to Walmart and I buy car audio speaker cable.
Oh,
You ever thought about doing this? And car audio.
Oh, it makes total sense.
Yep,
It's
and
thick.
It's and they had 16 gauge, which is a little bit thicker than normal, but like I was like, this will be fine. And they had they had ends, like a pack of random assortment ends, which I'm sure if I knew more about car audio, they would make sense to me. But I saw the ones I needed there, like the plastic ones that go on this type of speakers guitar amps use. Little paddles, and I was like,
they're the same. Yeah, there's the metal tab, and they just slide right over it. They're very common.
And that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So this get the audio speaker came in a spool that was like $8 or something, but it did the thing where it's like it had two that were one was supposed to be positive or negative. So I just split that wire. It was one of those almost like Twizzlers where you could just pull it apart, and they were like neoprened on each side or rubbered. So they you could easily split it, and they would still just be a solid copper cable in it or whatever. Yeah. So I just chopped it, and I crimped the little things on, because they were crimping style. They weren't like solder or whatever, but I just crimped them on.
Yeah.
Plugged in the cab, got everything working with those two and the original cables. And the cab actually sounded pretty good with my random reject pile speakers that I had enough to fit 3/4 of a 412 at. And like, would I think it was a great sounding cab? Not really. It's a bunch of reject speakers that I didn't like initially. It is, I've never heard them in that combination, so I am kind of curious to like get them loud. I put a little 5-watt head on it, cranked it, and it sounded, I was like, dude, it does a thing. It sounds like a decent guitar tone. It doesn't sound shit. And if they were saying that the cab had sounded shit in the past, that means it must have been like really fucking bad, right? Because like what they were starting with on their audio quality, which is like looking at those speakers, it wasn't a killer cab. It just worked. So I basically just wanted to bring it back to being a functioning guitar cabinet again. So did that. A guy happens to call me as I'm talking to him on the phone. I'm like, dude, yeah, I just got it all wired up. I had the back. What's the back baffle called?
The back baffle.
Yep. I had that, like, while I was testing it, I just kind of pushed it in, because you know how with the Tolex, it kind of holds itself there. I didn't screw it in case I fucked it up, and I didn't want to have to keep unscrewing. And then I had my guitar head with a speaker cable plugged in. As I'm talking on the phone, I'm like, yeah, dude, it sounds really great. I'm just about to button it all up. Literally right when I say that, for some reason, the back baffle just falls off, lands on the speaker cable, and breaks the plastic jack plate because of the pressure of the cable and it hitting the ground. It busts and as I'm on the phone with him, I'm like, well, it did sound great. Some fucked up shit just happened, so we'll see.
I'm gonna Gorilla Glue and Gorilla Tape this thing back together. It should be good.
So what I did is I grabbed some craft pine, the real thin laminated style craft pine that's like, I mean, maybe a 1/4 inch thick or something. I cut a square of it off real quick, and ironically, so this cab was the type of cab that had like a PCB board input-output. It wasn't just like a jack, right? It was like almost like the more Marshally style, where it's like a PC board and then the jacks are mounted to that and it goes on. It was actually fine. It was just the things that held, the little plastic piece that held it broke. So I made one out of wood, drilled it out, got it in, buttoned it up, whatever. I even spray painted it so it kind of matched. It was like,
shit, man.
Grayish. Yeah, I went above and beyond, motherfucker.
You did.
And then got it to him. But that was like a whole debacle of like, I don't have enough speaker wires, so now I've got to go to Walmart and like jerry rig something like, which I've never done before. I was just like, so I was at Walmart, so I was like, I need some groceries, and I was like, I bet they'll have this shit. So I went to Walmart for groceries instead of another place, thinking that I was like, I bet they'll have something I can fucking do to make this cab roll by tomorrow. So I was able to find that out. So this is like fucking guitar tech, ingenuity out the fucking ass, right? Like, this is like what you would do if you were on the road and you had a fucking cab blow, and you're like, I'm in a nowhere town and they have a Walmart. This is the type of shit you would do to, like, okay, I've got a cab that works so I can play my show. I spent $15 on speaker wire and doodads. And then now I can play the show. It was that type of shit. So, like, am I the most proud of it? Not really, but, you know, it works and it does the thing and whatever.
I mean, you took a cab that literally had speakers marked in it as shit. It literally had shit written on the back of them. And you made it something decent. So, you know, I think that's a win.
I think so, too. And I dropped it off for my buddy before his guitar practice, or before his band practice. His guitarist plays, I think it's like an 800 or something. So apparently he put an 800 on it. And he texted me after saying it sounded fucking mega sick. Like, he's like, this is the best his guitar's ever sounded. And he's played with this guy for like 30 years. So, like...
It's probably because he's been playing on that derelict cab for like... This derelict been hanging out in a dumpster behind a Chinese restaurant, like, sopping up sweet and sour sauce with fucking dead rats or something. This
Yep. So that was Guitar Tech bullshit 1.
That's all. That was.
Oh, there's a reason we're doing an episode on this. So I'm gonna go grab number 2.
Man. Oh, sweet. By the way, folks, I had no preview on any of this. So we got on the stream here, and Dustin hit me with this, and we've both been doing it so long that I have several stories from the past, but his shit is right now.
It's this week, right?
It's this week.
So I realized that in parts, I could build like a bunch of guitars with lower investment because I have so many fucking parts just sitting in my basement, right? I had a completely loaded Strat pick guard, and I've got fucking tons of really good humbuckers and P90s and pickups laying around.
Right.
And remember how I built that Telly recently from Rosser?
Yeah.
Guess who started making bodies again? Almost like the week after I fucking bought that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I paid $200 for this one.
Oh, wow.
he hadn't made them in 4 years. And I paid $500 for that one, and I paid like $160 for this.
Is he making telly bodies?
Yeah.
Is he making telly bodies again?
Yeah, if you want one.
I'm gonna buy one.
You should buy one. They go every weekend. Like on Friday, he posts them, bunch of different colors and stuff, and the bidding starts at 115. I think he even manipulates the bids so they don't go under 150 if it has a bid.
And he jacks them up.
Yep, yeah. I'm almost positive he does. Because
has a
I
bro.
feel like I'm the only fucker that ever buys his shit, but somehow I'm always in a bidding war right to the last minute when I buy his fucking guitar bodies. But there's a bunch of them the next week that just didn't sell and no one was interested in. It's weird.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's
so
super weird.
I'm just out here openly flaming a guy who makes fucking bodies I love, but he has been kind of like a dick to me when I've emailed him, so fuck him. But please just
kind of makes me not want to buy his shit. But you know,
too.
like...
But it's so fucking good, and it's pine. It's so hard to find a pine. A really light pine nitro finished body for a couple $100. You know what?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck me. I'll buy it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So this is the build.
Nice.
Yeah. So the pick guard might catch your eye. It was an Etsy
what is
order. It's just a black pick guard with like he called it the McFly because it's kind of Back to the Future colors, and I thought it would be cool with like a roasted maple neck. It's also a hardtail.
Oh,
I wanted a hardtail strap for a little bit.
That's cool.
Just because I actually bought this bridge piece a long time ago because I don't know if you even know this about me, Josh. I've had, and this isn't quite it. It's like a Chinese ripoff. I don't know if you can tell.
Almost looks like is there PRS saddles?
This is like a ripoff PRS
Aren't
saddle.
they?
Or it might actually be a PRS.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a PRS
hardtail.
hardtail on a
Mhm.
bridge. But
Mhm.
I have a deep love for something that one person makes currently,
Okay.
but came on vintage Charvels. They used to do a
Oh yeah.
brass
The
hardtail
Mhm.
keyhole
Yes.
bridge, and
Yeah.
I the first time I saw it,
Oh,
I fell in love.
I knew this.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew this.
So the PRS saddles,
That boner's been raging for a while.
yeah, the PRS saddles are really close, and I paid $35 for this bridge. The repros of those Charvel ones with the brass that are
Oh,
all
they're
brass,
super
they're like
pricey.
300
Yeah.
for the fucking bridge, and I'm sure it's
Yeah,
worth it.
Yeah.
And maybe one day this guy will get that, but for now, I was going affordable. But so I get this pick guard, and I go to put this humbucker in.
Yeah.
Guess what doesn't fit in the fucking humbucker route? The humbucker.
Right.
I'm assuming it's because
Wow.
the guy who built it never assumed someone would put a covered in. It was like so
yeah.
fucking close that I
Mhm.
bet if it was uncovered, it would have went in easily. But I'm sure there's not many
Yeah.
people buying strap pick guards that are putting covered pickups in it, 'cause it's kind of a weird thing to do, but I think it looks fucking
It is
baller.
kind of weird.
Especially in like this scheme of like the cream
Mhm.
on the white. I think it looks rad.
Yeah.
But so guitar fuck up number 2 is, so I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll take my Dremel and I'll just go real slow and route it out. Well, guess what? Like, kind of
Yeah.
skips, and if you've ever worked on a pick guard, this shit tears
Mhm.
so easy. And you can see
Oh yeah.
it got away from me, and I am not happy with that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
gunky. The top one I got it really pretty fucking clean. But down
Mhm.
here it skipped on me, and it just took a chunk out, and I had to like smooth out the
Man.
chunk. And
Your hand's gonna be covering it anyway. It'll be fine.
I mean that is why
Man.
it's all on here, because I was like, okay, it's a little Van Halen to have something a little fucked up,
Uh-huh.
but like,
Right.
fine. But I did email the guy and say, hey man, like, it'd be really cool if you could make me one to fit a covered bucker. Like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
said, like, hey, I know that, like, this might be the first, because he's just a seller on Etsy that makes like pick
Right,
guards,
right.
So I was like, dude, I don't
It could
even
be a-
know
yeah.
if you knew that you couldn't fit a covered humbucker in your route. So like,
Mhm.
if you didn't, like, and you should have written it on there if you did, or maybe he was like, an F spacing pickup is a little bit more narrow, right? Or is it wider? Actually,
No. I mean, an F spaced pickup, like those single coils should be F spaced
yeah, you're right.
because it's
Yeah.
Fender, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So-
they should all be F spaced.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And this humbucker is a 57 Classic. It's a Gibson bucker that I had.
And see, that should be narrower.
right.
That 57 Classic should be narrower.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah,
That's all
so
messed
it's
up.
all ganked. Also, when I got it, he said it fits like Made America and Mexico strats. But guess
Mhm.
what the pots were drilled out for? They were like the metric style, like they wouldn't fit these are CTS pots.
Oh my
think.
god. Yeah.
Yeah, these are CTS
Did you have
pots.
to put?
This is why I
Yeah.
went out to Home Depot to buy a reamer, which they didn't have, so I had to go to Menards and buy a reamer. And then I got home and reamed it. I hate the third, just for the viewers, I hate having
yeah.
a volume knob right there, so I also needed to go out and get a button to cover it up, because
Yeah.
I guess I could have asked him to make it with just 2, but like this has kind of become my thing. Like, which I stole from
that's
another
true, it
buddy at a
is.
guitar shop. A good friend of both of ours does this.
Oh
on
yeah.
his, and
Yeah,
he
that's
was the one who
right.
gave me the idea, and I've kind of like,
What do
fell in
you
love
what
with
do
it.
you use to plug the hole? What is that? Because it's very
It-
specific.
it's actually called a metal button plug. You can buy them in a hardware store. They're about
Now
about
hold
$1.
on a second. It's a metal what? It's a metal what plug?
But when I look online,
These other things keep popping up online. I don't know
I don't get it.
what the deal is. Google's broke. I wanted a butt-in plug.
Yeah, a plug in
A plug.
the butt. No,
Right,
wait, no,
yeah.
not that.
And no, wait,
no.
now hold on a second. Now wait. You can't say that.
You can't print that.
I don't think you can say that.
God damn it. So
What's
yeah,
up, man? What's going on?
By the way, if
What's up, bro?
anyone wants to do that, it's a 3/8. If you have a normal routed like American strat or Mexican strat that's using like American sized parts, it's a 3/8 button plug. Just so you don't have to fucking try. There you go.
Can we have a word of the day?
Today's phrase is
Mecca like a high, Mecca hiney ho. Yeah. That's oh shit. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. Nobody can see this except for us.
yeah. Wait,
Or can
wait,
they?
wait.
I don't know.
Not yet.
Okay. Waiting. Yes. I like it. It's good. The juice will be worth the squeeze, folks. There it is. Today's phrase of the day. Metal button plug. It's so good.
It's so good.
What else are you doing?
Oh,
what can
I was
you do?
I was gonna make it scroll.
Oh dear God. Oh Lord. This is beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah,
Scroll! Scroll! Okay, put it at warp speed, Mr. Sulu.
Pre-con plan.
Oh, this is turning into a shit wreck.
Duh.
Duh. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good.
You ask and you shall receive.
I mean, thank you, sir. Thank you, streaming gods. This is all I ever wanted and more.
Yeah, so that's been my guitar week. This week in guitar is Dustin just fucking everything. I mean, like, so it always works out okay. And this is, but it's always that thing. Oh, also, by the way, that Rosser body did not fit the humbucker, which it also didn't fit the Telecaster neck pickup either. So he needs to fucking, as he's bidding me up, maybe he should look at like how deep he should route his fucking bodies. And
dude, I think he's beating you up. I think he's bidding you up and he's beating you up.
So I took that Dremel and I widened it, and so I don't mind doing shit like this because it's covered with a pick guard, so I can go quick and sloppy, which is what I'm best at.
Right.
And just widen it out so my pickup fit. But I had to do this on the telly too. I had to make it a little bit bigger on the telly for the telly neck pickup.
Oh, you had to do that on the neck pickup too?
Of the telly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So just a heads up.
Just
a little bit of love.
Weird.
I mean, it's covered by a pick guard, so I don't really care about like just going at it quick with the router.
I mean,
it's still like
at
it'd
that
be nice
point,
if I didn't
at that point, just vote it out. You know,
I thought about it while I was doing it. If I wasn't inhaling pine because I didn't wear a wet respirator or eye protection, I probably would have. Yeah, because you know how you. So I'm like,
a little bit of microscopic wood dust that never hurt anybody's lungs.
As I started doing this, because I started doing that. You know when you start sneezing and there's wood dust in your fucking snot.
Oh yeah.
That started happening.
Listen, Dustin. I've routed more wood than I care to admit at this point. And I've graduated. I went from a cloth mask to a respirator to literally a full face shield with a respirator built in.
Dude, that's nice.
And I was routing so much in routing those guitar bodies that I actually bought a full body paint suit with a hood on it.
Yep.
Because I would be so absolutely drenched
Oh yeah.
I would have to go take a shower immediately because like you just get so drenched in like wood dust particles.
And it's
not
fine
chips.
too. It's fine
Oh,
when
it's
you're
super fine.
when you're going at
Powder.
high speed and you're
Yeah,
not trying to
it's
burn it
powder.
up. Like it's That's why it sucks to breathe in. So
Yep.
Another tip for aspiring guitarists:
telling
like,
me.
don't do that shit. I'm sure you probably
Yep.
inhaled a couple trees worth at this point.
I was dumb when I first started doing it. Yeah, that mahogany too. That shit. That will fuck
Dude,
you up.
like seriously, actually.
I was blowing my nose and brown, not like infection, but literal like brown mahogany dust was coming out of my nose.
Yeah,
like
you just got done fucking inhaling it. Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Kids, wear your fucking mouth protection. I'm not talking about wearing a goddamn mask out in public, but I'm talking about wearing shit when you're fucking routing your goddamn guitars out like a man.
Like a man. I mean, it is kind of ridiculous. We are at the point now where we buy a guitar and just start ripping into it. But I love it when I don't have to do that. But when I get into these builds, I know it's every step of the way is going to be a shit.
Justin, I have pretty much resigned myself to knowing that unless I spend $4 or $5 grand on a guitar, I'm going to be routing it out or something.
Even my fucking custom shop, you know, I didn't have to change anything about it except for I didn't want the volume knob, right? I wanted to do the button thing, and which means I had to unsolder a volume or a tone knob, move the volume down, and blah blah blah. Fucking $5,000 custom shop. I still needed to do a modification to make it exactly what I wanted. Now, I'm sure, like, that was a custom shop that was just on Sweetwater. It wasn't like I didn't custom order it. So obviously I could have just, like, ordered one. But, like,
well, you know what?
I don't care about that shit.
Maybe I don't know.
That's not an option. Surely that's an option
okay,
for the custom shop.
So 10 years ago when I started building that V, actually, when would that have been? That'd been like 2006 or 7, something like that. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I finished it in like 2014. Anyway,
it was from scratch,
I actually started.
By the way, it wasn't a parts build.
Right.
From
total
blocks
stack of lumber.
Yeah.
And I learned everything I know about woodworking from building that guitar too. So.
That is the other thing that's great about guitar work in general. Those skills do apply to other things in woodworking. So if you own a house,
I could make cabinets. I could make a door. I could and I'm not talking about a regular door. I'm talking about like the inset panels with the you know, totally. It does.
My small woodworking skills have only exist because of working on guitars first and then being like, oh wait, if I can do these things on a guitar, just the mental leap to doing it now, and I have all these fucking tools. It kind of grows. And honestly, like, if you're patient, you're willing to do a lot of that shit, home or guitar, a lot of money saving going on. Now, the dick punch is whether that's worth the money you save is completely a subjective guess. Whether it's your home shit or your guitar shit, it's gonna be a dick punch either way.
And that was going back to the point that I was going to make about that guitar was that I started to build that guitar because I wanted a $5,000 ESP. And the ESP that I wanted, they didn't make. I'm saying that the custom shop, like for them to custom build it at the time, because I spec'd it out, was like $4,500 or $5,000. Now back then, that was more like 10 grand today, which is probably what the ESP custom shop would charge you. They probably actually charge you right around $6,000 or $7,000 to do it today. So I probably spent, you know, 3 or 4 grand on tools and stuff by the time I was done. Maybe after that guitar, I didn't spend hardly that much money at all, like really building.
That's what was hard about. That's why it took so long on that first guitar.
I did a lot of that by hand.
It's hard work. And then you go, well, fuck, for the second one I build, because now this is just a thing I do. I play guitar, but now I build them or whatever. You just start accumulating shit to make that process easier.
So now, once you get past a certain point, like now I have a jointer, I have a planer, I have a spindle sander, I have like 2 band saws. You know, I've got like, you know, you start accumulating stuff because there's like, you just need, it's like right tool for the right job makes all the difference. Anyway,
and buying tools, here nor there. Like you also know, even though it is neither here nor there, you're right, but like when you
Yeah.
buy a tool that is a good tool, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
I might have this my entire life, and it's only
Yeah.
going to help me in every project I do. So now, what if I need to build a
Right.
cabinet
Right.
or a door or a desk?
Mm-hmm.
I have the things I don't have to go to fucking IKEA and buy a shit desk, and I also don't have to
Right.
go to a nice furniture store and pay $4,000 for a desk. I can just build one for a couple $100 that is of the
Yeah.
quality of like a $4,000 desk, because I'm going to take all that time and that craftsmanship on my own time. And if you
Yeah.
enjoy it, which
Yeah.
like it is a joy. I love woodworking.
Yeah.
It's something I wish I
Mhm.
had the space to do more of, honestly. And I probably could if I dedicated to it, but I'm also just a lazy fuck. So there's that.
And I say you frame out a room in that basement and get on it, but
That would require more woodworking.
it's true. You'd have to, yeah. It's all cumulative. That's the problem.
It
There's
is
only so much
cumulative.
time.
The song has
Yeah.
lyrics going
Let's
behind
see
it, so don't jump.
some fucked up guitar techery.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. One thing that sticks out in my mind about we worked at the music store together. I worked at the music store for like 11 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably 10 years too long, but I worked on a lot of guitars, and there was, I mean, I'll tell this story, and then I'll tell another one where I fucked something up on my own. How about that?
Sounds
And this
great.
was actually less. This is actually less of me fucking something up, and more of me doing something that seemed completely catastrophic at the time, and really, like, probably the most shameful moment I've ever had in my whole music store career. And you were there, actually, so this will be fun. And I didn't discuss this with Dustin either, so this will be fun.
I can't wait.
But do you remember Joe? He was a taller guy. He came and played bass. He took lessons from
yeah.
Joe Blastic or Tim or
Absolutely.
somebody. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Anyway, he brought in this 5-string American jazz bass, and it was his like pride and joy. And I was probably hungover. I'm gonna be real here, folks. It was most likely I was hungover as shit, but it was a simple thing. It was just
the bar/restaurant next to us had Monday steak and potatoes, where you could drink at least 2 or 3 Warsteiner Dunkels, which were on tap at this specific
23
place.
ounce.
Yeah.
23 ounce.
You can get 2 or 3 of those along with your steak and potato, all eaten and drank during your lunch break and come back to work, because it was like a 2-second walk. So just throwing it out there. Not that I ever drank and then went to work. Or during work.
No, never did that.
Never
did that.
Continue.
Anyway, so I'm working on this. Good point. I like that.
Just saying.
I'm working on this 5-string jazz bass, and then it needed like a neck adjustment, right? And I believe one of the teachers had talked me up. Like a lot of the teachers told people to come out, and they'd have one of us work on the guitars, and Joe would have people come out. He'd talk us up. He'd say, Josh, go out there. Josh will take care of you. He's the man. He's the dude. He'll take care of you.
He'll so good.
It's like he cares because he cares.
It won't be dry or nothing.
No teeth. I know what I'm doing. So I'm like I've taken the neck off this bass because the truss rod adjustment was at the base of the neck. I believe I had the neck off of it for some reason. I hope that's why I had the neck off.
You thought it was one of the ones that was the top thing, and you still had it on. You're like, whatever, fuck it.
Right. He's like, honestly, I don't know. Anyway, so I had the neck off this thing. I believe that's why I adjusted the neck. I was putting it back on. It was like a tiny tweak from what I remember. And let me tell you something, folks. If you have a bass that you're holding that weighs like 20 pounds and 10 pounds of that is in the neck and like 7 pounds of that neck is in the headstock, unless you have at least... No, fuck that, actually. Until you have all 4 screws started in that neck... You do not let go of that neck, okay? So, I'm putting the neck back on this thing. I set the neck in the pocket. I like reach over to grab a screwdriver because I have on the body. I have the neck plate sitting out with the screws already there. I didn't back them out all the way, right? Because I'm not.
Oh,
This is
shit,
my first
I totally
fucking rodeo.
remember this fucking happening. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I totally remember
So
this thing now.
I put the neck back in the pocket. I reach over, I guess with the hand that I should have been keeping on the neck, to grab a fucking screwdriver. The dude is standing right there in the shop. The neck comes off the base, lands on the floor. It lands at a fucking angle where like the tuner, like I think the tuner peg hits the ground first. This god awful sound, this terrible fucking sound. Sounds like it blasted into a million pieces. I scramble to get the neck off the floor, and I'm like, and like as this happens, I literally look over him, and he goes, like he's like, and he recoils in terror and like turns away, you know. Catch your breath. I'll wait. It's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I literally have shit myself twice at this point, right? Because this also, I do have to say, this guy is the nicest guy on the planet, and like the last person I would ever want to do anything bad to his gear, you know. I pick the neck up off the ground somehow, some way. It does not have a dent, a scratch, a crack. It doesn't even have any lint on it from the floor, right? It is unscathed completely after the sound of like basically it shattering into a million pieces when it hits the floor. And it probably was my anxiety that caused that to be amplified. Like my ears, somebody turned the gain up on my ears to like 1,000, right? So when it hit the ground, I was just like, you know, like
you were the Grinch,
my brain
and
was.
that bass was the
I
Who's
was
opening Christmas presents.
Seriously, oh my god, man, it was terrible.
Reference.
Anyway, I put the neck back on the base. I tuned it up, tweaked it. He ran away with it screaming, and that was it. But seriously,
Didn't charge him, of course.
Of course.
No,
right.
no. Do you notice how
that was probably
like,
that was probably
here.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, that was probably the worst experience in guitar tech land. Excuse me, that I've ever had.
That's good.
So that's story number one. I have another special story for you folks.
I can't wait. I can't wait for this.
Now this was actually in my own garage. When I was making some guitar necks, I had a buddy of mine ask me to make him a Strat, which I still have never delivered on, but I told him I would. This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that.
To make me a guitar.
So,
I won't ask.
yeah, it wasn't you.
I will tell you to make me a guitar. I won't ask.
I told you that if you wanted to make a guitar, we would do it together, but you'd be making your own shit. I'd just show you how.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I'm not doing that again. Like I'm not telling somebody I'm gonna make him a guitar.
And I bought some wood for that, and then I gave it to a buddy of mine about a year ago after sitting on that pile of wood for about, I don't know, 10 years?
3-4 years, something like at least, anyway.
It's like a decade.
Yeah.
But my buddy turned it into a Gandalf pipe for me. So there you go.
Nice.
And then used the rest of the wood to make other Gandalf pipes. So that exists.
Yeah.
Totally worth. But
Lord of the Ring themed mahogany butt plugs. button plugs. I'm sorry. The metal. I misread the phrase of the day. Anyway,
you bastard. You're in your garage and you're working on the theoretical.
So I'm in my garage. I'm actually, what I decided to do was, since I was already making a Strat for him, I thought to myself, well, I kind of want a Strat too, so I'm gonna make 2 Strats. And I actually have both of the necks. They're about 3/4 of the way done under my bed in my bedroom. So I have 2 Strats, 2 Strat necks. Fretboards made, fretboards glued on, truss rods in, headstocks. The template was drawn on there. I haven't cut them out yet, but anyway. So the first neck that I started making, I got the wood glued up. I got I got it jointed. I got the headstock angle cut.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm like just about to, oh yeah, there you go. Get yourself a little taste. Oh wow, cashed. It's cashed, folks.
Cash money.
Is that a plastic cup?
Yeah.
I have to ask.
Oh so
boy.
I'm such
Wow.
a degenerate. Sometimes I don't feel like going upstairs to grab a glass. It's only about
Respect.
15 steps at most.
Right.
This I don't have to do dishes afterwards, and I can just keep them right by my whiskey bottles down here. So
Yeah.
I have about 50.
No,
plastic
that
cups
totally makes
behind.
sense. That 100% makes
That's how I
sense.
roll. That's who I am.
Yes. That's I know who I am.
I'm the dude. Actually, I made that shot, by the way.
Nice. That actually would have been great entertainment if you hadn't. Concrete floor, glass bottle.
There's other lives of me streaming other entertainment where I do miss.
OnlyFans, folks. OnlyFans.
I've missed that trash can a bunch. Usually beer bottles miss, not whiskey bottles. I'm a
Oh
little bit more
shit.
careful
Well,
with
that
those.
could be tragic too.
They are.
Anyway, so I have the neck glued up. I have jointed it. I have routed the truss rod channel. I've
Mhm.
cut the headstock angle. I'm just about to trace the headstock template on there and maybe cut it out or glue the fretboard on there. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. There was some stock at the end of the neck piece that I needed to cut off, so I took it over to my circular saw and started to make the cut, not thinking about which end I was cutting, and literally cut off the angled part of the piece that I was going to use for the headstock and fucked the whole neck blank to hell. I literally cut the place where the headstock should have been off the neck blank, and after I made the cut, I was like, you stupid bastard, you shouldn't be anywhere near a power tool right now. I wasn't even drinking. That was just pure stupidity.
Dude,
And
you should've just been
literally,
and now it's a Steinberger.
I took that piece of shit and threw it in the trash.
Of
That's
course,
what I did.
dude. That's the only thing to do.
I didn't even burn it, which would have been better because I had a fire pit at that point. So
Nah, it wasn't worth it.
actually, it wasn't
Dude,
a fire pit. It was more like
The fire pile.
a fire. But well, it was it was one on my deck. You have the fire. I guess it is a fire pit. It's like one of the raised ones anyway.
Yeah, one of the ones you buy like the metal things of.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was like kind of height of stupidity there. I've had other things where frets like the last fret job I did was really good. It went without kind of a hitch, but pretty much every other one I've cursed, life itself and wished to die.
Dude,
and it's mostly from wood tearing out. That's really what fucking destroyed me.
Dude, I've experienced that dumb cut phenomenon with flooring. If you've ever put in flooring, wood flooring, right? There are these times when you're going under door jams and you're taking your piece, which usually.
When you I'm sorry, when you said dumb cut, I heard it a little bit differently.
We're gonna have so many phrases of the day. Because the rectangle piece turns into something that looks like the worst jigsaw ever. It's like down, over, up, back up, and then you've got this real skinny thing on a piece of laminate flooring that's not meant to be that skinny, right? And you just need it to slide under the jam to connect to the piece so you can fucking. I can't tell you the amount of times I've drawn it, cut, and then got to the last cut, and then somehow fucked it up and cut it an inch too short, and be like, no, I've got to do this over again. And you might have spent you put in that laminate flooring, you get in a rhythm. You can do a bunch of space real quick, but when you get those cuts that are real funky, that's when it slows you down. You might spend 45 minutes on one of these real intense cuts if it's super fucked up, and then when you fuck it up and you've got another 45-minute cut ahead of you. Yeah, it's like the feeling of chopping off the headstock from a guitar you were building. Probably less worse.
That was the dumbest thing. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done. I actually, so with that neck, and you know how I do things. Like, I had taken 3 pieces of lumber, laminated them together, run them through a planer, run them through a joiner, you know, put them on a router table, routed out the truss rod channel, cut the headstock angle at the exact angle. I had like, I mean, like, I was right at the point to where, like, I could have glued a fretboard onto it.
Yep.
I was right at that point. I might have had, like, I don't even know, like 10, 15 hours in that thing. Maybe. I don't know at that point how long it was going to take me. But I literally, in like 2 seconds, I destroyed all of that.
Yeah, dude.
Like, by doing just the dumbest shit possible.
So frustrating, dude.
That's
a bad fucking... That's one of those days where when you go back inside and the wife is like, "Are you okay?" You're like, "Fuck off!" And you're like fucking storm somewhere to be alone.
I'm gonna go waterboard myself in a toilet. That's what I'm gonna do.
And you come back out double fisting like I am right now.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that at that point I literally just I'm pretty sure I literally did an about face, left everything the way it was, went and turned the light off in the garage and walked in the door.
Dude, I can't believe
I'm just like, I'm done.
I'm surprised you didn't take a can of like fucking linseed oil or whatever, pour it on all your fucking rags and just light the place. Just let it burn.
Just burn the place down.
You know what?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Well, fuck it. It's not this. It's never.
Hindsight,
Yeah, dude.
What are you gonna do?
So one more story that this was also not me, but it was at the shop we both worked at. This was the Northside store. I watched a guy drill all the way through a guitar. He was... I don't know.
I think it was, dude. I was actually real quick sidebar.
Yeah.
I think about how long I worked at the guitar store, and I was only working there like a year and a half before I actually started working on guitars.
Right. Me too. Dude, for me it was less. I knew shit about guitars.
Sure. I didn't. Well, like, yeah, but like, I guess you were a different situation. There were like 2 or 3 really qualified people there when I worked there.
Like yourself.
And we had less. It was like, basically. Like, so like.
Well, what I was saying is when I started, you already had like 3 or 4 years of experience, and you were willing to teach me all the stuff I knew. Like, so I had a really nice like kickstart to understanding shit because if I could go to you every fucking time I touch something, be like, "Is this cool? Is this how you do it? Like, what do I do here? What does this mean? What the fuck is this?" There's this thing that says Rose on it, and I don't know. It's got these. It's got like 20 Allen wrench fucking parts. I don't know, but all I know is I took it entirely apart, and it's on the workbench.
You're like, come here, like, you just dump parts on the bench in front of you, like, oh my god!
The guy said he wanted a restring, so I managed to take.
He said he wanted a restring.
I got this.
I don't know what happened.
It's literally every piece of the guitar is just on every bench we have.
Oh my god!
I don't know how you guys do this so fast.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing,
dude.
But I was gonna say I don't know how I didn't fuck more shit up. Like, honestly, like the whole thing with guitar tech is like, it's really not how well it kind of is. It's how well you can work on things, but it's how well you can recover from fucking something up, right?
Dude, seriously.
Now, with that, drilling through a guitar, there's not much you can do to come back from that. Dude, but anyway.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know the whole story because I don't know what he was doing. I remember who it was, and I'm not gonna because there's no reason to flame him. He doesn't work on guitars anymore. But I think I can't quite think of what he was doing. But he was doing so. The nature of what he was doing, he was trying to drill through a part, so a small bit of something. I don't know if this was the situation, but let's say for some reason he decided to drill through a pick guard.
Mm-hmm.
He drilled all the way through the goddamn body of the guitar he was working on. But you're like, okay, well that's pretty.
That's impressive.
Like all the way through, like he got to the other side. Like that's insane. But the fucked up thing was, it wasn't a guitar with a pick guard. So whatever he was doing was supposed to be hidden. And I guess the screwdriver got away from him, or with the drill bit, and he just plunged it, and it took hold. And this guy just had a fucking hole in his guitar, and I think the shop had to buy him a new one.
There are a few things that
because it wasn't a new guitar.
Really bad.
It was like a vintage. I think this was like 2000s. I think it was like an 80s H&M Strat in like baby blue. So like, yeah. Anywho, but you're saying
there are a few things that come to mind there. So like, first off, if you're drilling through something on a guitar, generally you take that piece off the guitar. Second, if you're using a drill bit, because most if you know anything about drill bits, most small drill bits for small holes are short.
Yes.
So if you are making a hole that's large enough to go through a guitar body, you're probably using something that's at least like maybe, well, either 3/8 or like 1/4 of an inch or something, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's a big hole. That's a hole big enough to put a pot through, in most cases.
Or a metal button plug.
Or a metal button plug. So there's a place there where you could make a really dumb cut as well. I feel like. So I just do. Put two T's on. Can you? God, I'm getting another pour. This is my third one, by the way.
Hell yeah, dude! Is that a pint glass?
That's just like.
That's a rocks glass, isn't it?
No, it's a rocks glass.
Okay, dude, it looked like a pint glass for a second. I was like, oh, god damn, Josh! That's not even enjoyable.
Had a rough day, bro.
Well, dude,
had a bad day again.
I mean, I'm not going to say shit. I'm double fisting over here, so.
Yeah.
I'm also drinking two different types of alcohol.
Can you? Well, we'll talk about it after.
Okay.
You are double fisting two different. I was gonna say, I was gonna ask you to type into the chat who it was that did that, because I'm really curious about that. But
I'll throw it in Discord. I mean, there's no reason to flame this guy, so I'm not gonna do it publicly. No. But because Josh will know him.
I do it.
Because Josh will know him.
I absolutely do it.
He was the type of dumb cut that would fucking do that too.
I actually now this is no lie. So I actually watched him. A dude came in with an Ibanez. Okay, it was a really nice Ibanez. It was probably an $800-900 Ibanez at the time, Japanese made at this point, because the Prestiges used to be around that.
Yep.
But it had a wraparound stop tailpiece on it, and it was like an RG, but it was an odd RG. It was like a special series. Okay.
That's cool.
And it had passive pickups in it, and the dude wanted EMGs. Well, the EMGs wouldn't fit because this was routed specifically for these passive pickups. Dude, he took a router to that thing.
Oh my god.
He didn't use a template. It was the nastiest, gnarliest looking thing. And then he tried to pass it off.
Pickguard?
Oh, bro.
Or about as bad, honestly. Because, like, if it was worse than this, because the router bit got away with me on plastic. If it's worse than that, that person's gonna be so pissed. I mean, I'm pissed about this, but like that looks like shit.
Imagine somebody with like, and I'm not downing anybody with a disease here, but imagine somebody with Parkinson's, you know.
And he's saying that because their hands shake, and it makes it hard for them to do
exactly
intensely hand-eye coordinated tasks because they're suffering from a tremor, an essential tremor. And
if you know anything about working with a router, the router bit is spinning at like 25,000 revolutions per minute.
Yeah,
okay,
it is not. You're not fucking.
It
around.
is. You're not fucking around. You have to be extremely. You have to concentrate extremely. You have to be very intent on what you're doing. You also pretty much have to use a template, or you're going to like you're gonna have a jank move in there that's gonna route out a quarter-sized divot in whatever wood you're working with, and he didn't use a template. And this dude got his guitar back, and like from what I heard, I'm pretty sure somebody had to pay for that too.
Yeah.
So this was not this dude was a this was terrorism. This was guitar terrorism.
He was also okay. So the question people might be asking, the no people that are watching,
we're just lighting this dude on fire. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah. I kind of love it though. But that makes me so happy. The reason all these like repairs and things, people were comfortable leaving him with our shop, is because for the longest time, this shop had two stores, one on the north side of town and one on the south side, and both of those stores had a guitar tech that was like
renowned,
the best in town for about 20, 30 years. And at some point, both of those guys moved on. One to still tech a little bit for a while, and the other guy moved to Florida, and I don't think he was teching. I think he just retired.
No, he just retired. Yeah.
But in the wake of that, our shop had been built on these like great guitar teching was like one of the things that our shop did really well. But I'm not going to disparage the owners, but one of the things they could have done better was they could have trained some of the younger guys that were going to be there, like Josh, who ends up being there for 11 years. If they would have taken a little bit more of Josh's paid time and had Josh train in a literal sense as like a mentee under this guy, when he left, it would have made more sense. But you know how it goes in retail life. Shop's busy. You got a guy who can do something. I say busy, even that's super fucking relative, but like whatever. I feel like it could have happened, but it didn't happen. For whatever reason, that knowledge wasn't passed down to the younger dudes or the long-term full-time people.
Well, I feel like some of it was, but some of it is
some of it was, and that's
you can't get that experience but by experience.
I think that's true, but I mean at the inventory and income or like net profit that our shop brought in, like
sure,
we totally
it would have been advantageous.
Well, what I'm saying is we totally could have afforded to take a crappy, like, what's the Squire knockoffs? Here they're called Indiana, or like an SX or whatever your state's version of a shit guitar that's worse than a Squire, and they come in and there's high frets and shit. Our shop could have taken that store cost of $60 for the $150 guitar that has no name brand, and said this guitar is a little fucked, or even if it's not, giving it to the young dude. It's like, hey, we're going to teach you how to pull all the frets, and we're going to put them back in, and then instead of selling this guitar new for $160, we're going to sell it used with a perfect fret job that you're going to learn how to do now for $100, and we're still going to make profit. But that's something the shop never did, and we totally could have done that on... We had acoustics that we sold for $60 that we could have used as store training acoustics and still sold them for $60. It would have taken more time, and it would have been a longer process. So I understand all that goes into it, but I think that's what I would have done in those scenarios when I had those guys that were the best in the state that you would come to.
And there were two guys. There were two guys that were really well known. Another guy that was not as well known, but in like a small circle, he was pretty decently well known, but he was just as good as those guys, which is crazy. So we had like three dudes that were just unbelievable repair guitar techs that came and went.
That the knowledge didn't get passed down on the like circumstantial knowledge from just being around those guys and picking up their habits and viewing, but there was no formal mentor-mentee and teching relationship established from the business end. And so if you own a guitar business and you for some reason you're listening to this and you have that guy or you're that guy, teach someone younger than you who is a full-time dude That's shit. And even if that guy goes on to be a competitor from you because he's young, and 20 years down the road, he's going to set up a workshop in his fucking basement. He's going to take half your clients. What you get from him during that time and that transference of knowledge, and he's going to train the guy who's been there for 5 years, you're basically going to have the best tech in the fucking state the entire time your business exists. Right. Instead of it being for a certain time, and then now you're just as bad as Guitar Center, only you have the reputation of being good, so you're getting the hardest shit that people can think of. They're like, oh, I won't go to Guitar Center because this is a fucking thing. I'm going to pay a little bit more and go to our shop. And I'm not going to say it in an episode where we're fucking saying all the fuck ups that have happened.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Because actually, so though I'm criticizing...
You know what? Real quick, the fuck ups were very minimal. And we're talking about things that happened... We're talking about things that happened over like a decade-long period.
So Josh was there for, I think he said 11 years. I think I was there for 9.
And the shop covered.
Every time.
Whatever happened.
Every time did the right thing. If something bad happened, that person, like, maybe it was bad feels, but they didn't get fucked over. Ever. So, this shop is stand-up, and, like, these are the comical experiences that came out of... I'm going to take Josh's extra year and add it to my 9, and I'm just going to say... a decade of experience, and we don't have that many stories that are this funny. So, like,
no.
All that being said, so I'm not being critical.
Most of my stories that are that funny are pertaining to Mike.
Oh, for sure.
So
because fuck
that's
Mike.
Basically
he's a dumb cut.
Totally, he is a dumb cut. Exactly, and a metal butt plug.
And he's very sweaty.
I mean, a button plug. I'm sorry.
But
sorry.
Don't mess it up. YouTube will can us.
We're demonetized.
Demonetized. Yeah. We're getting money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it money?
Oh, fuck yeah. Will it or won't
not
it?
At all. Good question.
I feel like I was onto something for a second. Oh, I also did something super shitty. No, I got it. Yeah. I did something super shitty. All but here's the thing. I knew this was going to be shitty. This is how shitty it was, though. This kid came in when I was working at not my usual store. I was working at the second store to me. And a kid comes in for lessons. And his Epiphone SG had fallen over. And it was one of the cheap ones. Had fallen over. And the input jack had crushed the wood into his guitar because he had left his guitar plugged in and it fell over and broke the wood, right? And I looked at it and go, so when he came in for guitar lessons, he was planning on playing it with just the input jack just hanging out of the guitar and plugging the guitar cable into it. I was like, bro, here. He came in, so he was young. He was like 14 or 13, and he came in with his mom. And I said, listen, if you guys aren't ready to buy a new guitar, because, like, this is the type of guitar that, like, it's not worth paying any of us to actually fix this thing. You might as well, if he's really liking guitar. This is the type of guitar you're ready for an upgrade anyways. If he's been playing for a couple years, like, it's time to go to a $300 or $400 or whatever guitar. Like, this is like a $200 Epiphone special or whatever they're called. I was like, but what I can do is, like, while he's in there, he can use this guitar for his guitar lesson. I was like, it's not going to look good, but I've got some scrap plastic that I'm going to cut in a square, and I'm going to drill it into the wood and mount that output jack to it, and it'll function for a while. It's like, it's not going to be as stable, but, like, this will make it so you don't need to buy a new guitar now, and he's not going to feel like all the wiring won't get screwed up because he's dangling the guitar cable from it, which is going to pull everything out. And then you're going to have to buy or pay for a repair, and it's not really warranted type of thing. And, like, I was like, we'll charge you $20 for it. I was like, in the 30 minutes you're there.
You hooked him up.
Yeah, I was like, in the 30 minutes you're there, I'm going to drill 4 fucking screws into a piece of plastic and then drill a hole for an output jack and pop it in. You take this Squire back for your guitar lesson or whatever and whatever. I was like, it seemed like a thing. But when it was done, the owner of the store came over. It was Chris. And looked at it and was like, we can't hand it out like this because the one piece of plastic, which I thought we had tons of, had gotten away from me on the sanding belt and was like fucking askew. It was like it wasn't a square anymore. We're like, it wouldn't have looked good if it was a square and I bolted it in, but now I'm working with like this fucking like weird trapezoid, like it looked like shit. He was right. But I was like, dude, listen, like I told them that it was gonna be
listen.
I told them that it was gonna be like a $20 job, that it was just gonna make the guitar work, and it was gonna look way worse. It was like, because I did like literally tell them that I was like, it's gonna look terrible. I was like, there are things we can do to make this look great, but it's almost gonna be the cost of the guitar. I was like, so this is gonna look really, really bad, but your function will be there. And they seemed fine with that. But when Chris saw it, it was that thing. It was like, nah, this isn't leaving my shop like this. So Chris ate the difference of what I promised them and paying a dude to do it right and actually like refill the wood and stain it and put an output jack back in, and got that kid his guitar back. He just didn't have his guitar for a week. And Chris ate the difference. And I felt, so that's like kind of a tech fuck up in the sense of like, I thought what I did was okay, but like my work was probably even under where I thought it would be when I promised it. And he was just like, dude, that's not leaving my fucking shop with our name on it. Type of thing. It was like, we don't do it was kind of one of those things. It was like, we don't do this type of thing. Right. And it's like, okay. And I was still pretty young in learning kind of how that shop's vibe was still at that point. So that was like kind of how I learned. And afterward I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I was like, I thought because I told him it would be ugly and cheap, like it was cool. And he was like, you're right. He was like, but it looked pretty bad. And I was like, yeah, I know it looked like shit. And he was like, yeah. He was like, I know them. Like they've been coming for lessons for like a couple years or whatever. I just wanted to do them better than that. And I was like, okay. So it was one of those things where basically what I learned as like as a guitar tech, I kind of overstepped my bounds from an existing relationship. And I had to be kind of told like, no, there's sometimes that you don't know what's up, and you got to learn like the social aspect of what happens in a guitar shop and how we treat people that pay this amount of money for lessons every week or whatever. So we lost money because of my bad decision, but I learned something, which probably didn't help the shop at all, but I still learned something.
Well, if you were young in your guitar shop career, then it probably
it was probably like
something.
It was probably 2 or 3 years because it was old enough to where I felt like I had acumen to do the thing, but it wasn't but it was young enough to overstep a bound, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it is what it is. The guitar shop life is an interesting life.
It's something. Especially when there are bars on the windows.
It's so Ridley outside.
Nobody understands. Nobody understands.
I'm gonna explain it because that's actually a good one that they can take on. Ridley Scott has he's a director of movies.
He's a director of quality films.
And in those quality films, some of them, a subset of them, the ones that aren't aliens, have a very specific weather phenomenon that is a dreary, gray-skied snowfall. That Indiana...
Only very light snow.
Light snowfall. It's just kind of like a misting of snow. But very gray. Not like a white Christmas snowfall. This is like gray, your life's miserable snowfall. Indiana experiences that usually for about 4 months of the year. It's an overstatement.
Yeah, something like that.
But Indiana gets very, very dismal during January and February. And when you're a young person in your 20s, and you're sitting behind those barred windows of your guitar shop watching your life melt away 8 hours at a time.
Watching your youth literally disappear.
As you work for actually I think we were both fairly well paid. They took very good care of us.
I'm gonna make another pour. Here we go.
Ridley! I need to get some
for
more.
Ridley.
Yeah, sometimes it looks Ridley out, and that's just something you need to know. I think this is probably a good time. We're at an hour 15. It's probably a good time to end the cast.
Yeah.
We're gonna drink more and talk about all of you after
It's true.
this.
Yes.
But until then, remember the phrases of the
100%.
day: dumb cut, and metal button plug. Search it on Google.
Careful with that one. Careful.
Hey man. And as always, fuck you all to death.
Yeah. Just fuck off.
Fuck off.
Right there. Another one.
Another one.
Bye.
What's the Tone King say?